So, hi guys, the name's Ray and Arcasido from the reporters of Group 2. So, since we're not able to finish our group reporting, so I'll be discussing to you the last lesson that we have, which is the lesson 10, Sex and Senses. So, I'll be discussing this one to a pre recorded video. So, I want you all guys to stay focused and pay more attention to me during the discussion, even though you hear some random noises. Okay, to start with, let's discuss first the common senses that we have as humans. So we all know what senses that we have. Some does have six senses, but let's focus more on the five common senses that we have. So before we dig in, let me introduce to you the definition of terms, which are more important terms that we'll be encountering throughout the discussion. So let's go. Okay. So first we have is the sensorium. Okay, to define, it's the totality of our senses and perception, conglomerate of the individual sex organs. The next is the olfaction, which is the sense of smell. So it's already self-explanatory. We have the tactile, something associated with touch. Pheromone, a substance believed to be emitted by organisms which is thought to be influencing social behaviors. And we actually have the major histocompatibility complex, a set of for protein molecules associated with immune system. So please do take note in regards with these terminologies as we go along with our lesson. Okay, let's start. So yeah, we already common since we're still in kindergartens or yeah, even if we're not in school, we already have the senses. So yeah, just a refresher. Okay, we actually have five. If you have six senses on that one, good for you. Okay, so we have first is the sense of sight, which is our visual. So basically, it will be through your eyes, what you can see. Second one is the smell, the sense of smell, olfaction, which we already introduced to you during yeah, on the definition of terms. It is through the use of your nose. We have the hearing, which is the audition, so it is through your ears. We have the sense of taste, which is the gustation, which we'll be using our tongue. And lastly, we have the sense of touch or feeling, which we'll be using our skin. And as I have introduced you in the definition of terms, this five senses is what we call the sensorium, which is the totality of our senses. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, so as we receive information from our environment through the senses, our brain has the ability to organize and interpret this numerous stimuli into meaningful ideas that are useful for our sources and behavior. I mean behavior. Okay. So we actually have this effective primary hypothesis, which is first the cognitive processing, which is our higher order thinking skills is processed by our brain. So it in the book it says it plays a lesser role compared to our emotional responses. So this phase or this statement stresses how important emotions is as a response. Yeah, it takes precedent primarily because they're only processed and modulated by the limbic system. The emotional part of our brain is more primitive. Okay, to explain it to you more, I'll be providing you an example. So, you see the snake, right? So, imagine yourself walking alone in a big, deep, wide forest, and suddenly you came across with this venomous snake that could kill you in a second. Suddenly jumps out in front of you. So in the book, there are three F introduced as our common responses or emotional responses as human. So let me introduce you the first F, which is the fight. Okay, here it is. Three primary emotional responses. So, which is the fight. So, if you really have that courage to face that snake, or you know, you're really that courageous human being. So, the first thing you do is to fight. It is either you shoot the snake away or you throw stones on it. It depends on you. So fight basically means to face adverse or dangerous stimuli squarely. So salute if you have this kind of emotional response. The second one is the freeze. So just like the ice, you are unable to move or to make choice because the fear is eating you up. So there are no additional actions since you're already eaten by your fear, and you're just freezing in front of a snake. And the last one, which is the most common emotional response as humans, is the flight. So muna siya guys, musibat. This is to move away or run away. So since nakita naman ka nga kuyaw na jud na nakas dangerous nga sitwasyon. So commonly dalagan jud ta. But if malakardo jud ka, then I'll go for the fight. So, we should be able to sense the environment, organize that we receive, and interpret the stimuli so we can make a choice and corresponding actions. So, guys, let me explain it to you the process. Okay, so I'll just do it in a vernacular language so that everyone can follow. So, ano man siya? If we hear or we see something, another example is this is actually a true story. When I was working, I was on a midnight shift and I was walking alone in the streets. It's actually it's 2 p.m. and there are no human beings or any cars, and I suddenly hear noise. It's actually following me. So from the olfaction or what I heard, there is already a particular emotion that was processed inside of me. So from the ear, it goes down directly to the brain, which the brain produces what are what am I hearing? Is that a human being, or is that something unusual? Does it is that dangerous? So from that situation, I actually feel fear since I am alone walking on that night or in the middle of the night. The brain process what is that, and after that one, after mo process ang brain na siya corresponding actions, it is either mo dalagan ko, it's either wala ra ko response, or mo ano lang mo face adverse lang. So luckily I was able to fight the fear. Good for me. So muna siya process guys, from what we see, what we hear, what we touch, and what we feel, mo process directly sa brain. Kay pag abot sa brain, naman na siya corresponding emotions like napaso ka. Then ang action nimo kuhaon din nimo imong kamot. Lain na pud kaayo. Mapasok ka din dili nimo kuhaon imong kamot. Diba weird? So, okay, let's move on. So now I'll naka-move on. So, senses and sexuality. So guys, we all know that visual culture is really a dependent. I mean, humans actually depend on visual culture. As the book says, society highly rely on visual culture to co-create meaning and convey information. It is an essential element of society. So, as an example again, if you're actually on a unfamiliar city, no, bago lang ka sa city, na ka mismo sa downtown, wala ka kabalo ug asa ka padulong. So basically your visual mangita din siya solution or imong mata, which is looking through signs, street signs, that's what you see on a screen, or some specific stores, a name of the stores, or basically Google Maps. So we actually rely on visual culture so that it will give us cues on where we are, diba? So, okay. I know some of you guys wondering why are these common senses being discussed in this subject, you know? We're not even in a science class. Does it have any relations to gender and sexuality? To answer your question is a yes, in accordance with the book that we have or the book that our instructor provides. So, in the context of human sexuality, in accordance with the RUP and Wallen 2007, so men, yeah, and this is in accordance with the book, okay? So men respond more to visual sexual stimuli and tend to be influenced by sex of actors in a sexual scenario, means they are tend to be more influenced by visual cues. So this means actually is okay, no offense boys, but sometimes good some of the boys or nah, it's a normal sexual response to boys if they see something sexier, especially to girls. No, well, okay, just an example. While scrolling on Facebook, you see something sexy with the boobies, with the body, and it's, you know, just wearing underwears and brassieres. Boys actually have this sexual response or sexual arousals. They tend to be influenced more on visual cues. So, makakita sila something sexy, no? Their sexual response is pretty aggressive, or yeah, there is a particular arousal diet. And it's normal. Don't worry, boys. It's actually normal. As our body or our sexual, sexual part of our body is being active. It's normal. So, and meanwhile, for girls or women, they are influenced more on context. So it actually means na they are influenced more by the nature of the relationship they have with another person or the person that they can trust. So it's actually self-explanatory. It means na mas if they encounter a intimate relationship, no, they mostly have it with the person that they're comfortable with or the person that na sila relationship or they can trust. And other studies established that either gender respond more intensely on materials film and chosen by people of a similar gender. So this is actually on the visual part as we dig in more uh, on the senses in regards with the sexuality. So ano lang mo follow na ani ang olfactions and other senses that we have in regards with the sexuality, and it explains with the next reporter after me. So thank you and may you have a great day. Bye people.